Good morning, good morning. I think this is working. Yeah, okay. Good morning and welcome to my Monday messages. My name's Rebecca, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a holistic health coach and homeopath, and I am passionate about teaching as many people as I can how to be as healthy as they can be, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So my Monday messages are part of my commitment to that. And I just pop in here at 10 o'clock on a Monday, and you can join me live or you can watch the replay. And it's just where I share an idea, a point of view, a simple practice, something that will help you to improve your health in one of those three areas. So if you're joining me live, you're very welcome. Do pop your name or a thumbs up or something in the comment box. That would be lovely. So today I wanted to talk really about choice and the fact that we are choosing all day, every day. We're making choices basically, and I wanted to encourage you to obviously to value those choices and to know that you have choice in everything, but also to add on to that real choice is about actually having all the information that's available. So if you're actually having some of that information withheld or you don't have access to it, it's not really a choice, or it's not a full choice in my view. So on that score, there's another couple of things I wanted to talk about as well. What I really wanted to encourage this week actually is understanding when we're making health choices, when we're deciding, choosing what to put in our bodies, what to put on our bodies, to try and have all the information that's available to make that a really good informed choice. And if you see all the evidence, if you see all the information that's available to you, and that you then decide, that's entirely your decision, and I have no judgment about that at all. However, if you're making quite important decisions about what to put in or on your body, and you don't have access to all the information, that is not really a choice in my view. Anyway, I digress. So it's about choice. It's about informed choice today. And I'm going to focus in one particular area, which is the food that we eat, because pretty much whatever your chosen health method is, then we all eat. We all have to take in food. So we can do an awful lot to make healthy choices in that field alone. And they are, what we eat is actually the building blocks to our health. Obviously, if we don't get that completely right, then there are going to be consequences. And the reason I am mentioning this at the moment is because I'm extremely aware that a lot of us are trying to make a very difficult decision at the moment. For many, for some, it's not a difficult decision at all, in whether to vaccinate or not. And I'm not going to go into that in any detail today because it's not the forum for that. It's a highly complex issue and not the subject of today's Monday messages. But I am mentioning it because I know it's uppermost in a lot of people's thoughts at the moment. So, and also I'm using it as an example of something going into our bodies and disregarding, what is actually in a vaccine or any of that at the moment. Just if we do understand that anything that we take in, so any food that we eat or anything that we ingest basically, has to be analysed. It has to be assessed. It has to be broken down into, possible beneficial elements and possible harmful elements, or possibly useless elements. And your whole digestive tract, which is that tube that runs from your mouth right the way down to your anus, that is what that is for, basically. It's your first line of defense, because we are not meant to take on what in essence are foreign substances, and anything that doesn't, that we don't inherently make in our bodies, or that we have to take in from outside, is a foreign substance. So our digestive tract is there to protect us, actually, largely, to protect us and be our first line of defense against anything that might possibly threaten what is actually inside our bodies. So that's our vital organs and our blood supply, and all the things that run us day to day, basically. So foods, medicines, anything that's taken in, that's what the body has to do. Is it has to assess, what is this substance? Is it going to be useful to me? Which bits can I use, which are nutritious or, whatever, and which bits are actually useless to me, and I'm going to just pass out of the system because I don't want them hanging around. It's an extremely efficient system if it's allowed to do its job and if it's working properly. But every time we do that, it is taking energy. It is taking some of our attention and some of our internal energy to do that. And then conversely, if something enters our systems via the back door, if you like, by going straight into the blood supply, whether that's a vaccine, whether that's an insect bite, an animal bite, anything that's actually bypassing our natural defence system, our bodies have to go into a sort of emergency mode. It's like somebody's breaking into your house via the back door. All the locks and things and alarm systems have been broken, and this intruder is now in your house. So what your system does is it goes into an emergency mode because it has to protect what it's meant to protect, and that is your vital organs and all the bits inside you. Normally that's what your digestive tract is doing. It hasn't been given that opportunity. So what happens is an emergency mode, which takes even more energy than your normal digestive process. So if you are deciding, or if you have chosen, or if you have already had any kind of foreign substance that has been injected into you, or orally, but especially injected into you, then actually toning up your health, redoubling your efforts to make sure that you have all the tools that you need in your tool shed, to make sure that process that your body is trying to do of processing, assessing, and using what is useful, eliminating what is not useful, that needs to happen really with as much support as you can possibly muster. So two things. One is don't think because you're having a vaccine that gives you all the protection you need. It does not. So you need to keep going with those lovely health giving practices that you're probably already doing, all those things, building block stuff like exercise, fresh air, getting lots of sleep, drinking plenty of water, and eating clean, healthy food. And that's what today's about for me, really. Obviously, in an ideal world, what you want to be doing is, because all your body's efforts are going to be focused on processing what that foreign substance is, it doesn't really want to be having its attention drawn away from that by coping with other foreign substances. So if you can do whatever you can to minimise any further toxicity going into your system, that's got to be good. I mean, it's good anyway, but it's particularly good when you're asking a lot of your system. So ideally, I'd say, please eat organic. Eat fresh vegetables and fruit and meat and everything that you take in. Have it be organic. Not necessarily because it's giving you more nutrients, because it doesn't always, but what it does do is it reduces the number of further toxins that are going into your system, that are going to take your energy away from processing what is already, potentially quite a big job for it. So I know, though, I try and eat organic as much as I can. I know that particularly at this time of year, that can be hard. There isn't as much produce around, and given the current situation, particularly with Brexit, that a lot of things are in short supply unless you grow your own stuff. So what do you do when you can't access organic vegetables and fruit, or you can't access all of them to be organic? Well, there is a really good way. It's been around for ages, but not a lot of people know about it. And actually, I had a couple of conversations this last few days that led me to this subject. And that is the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. What are those? They are two lists that are drawn up by the environmental protection agencies. Started in America, but there are lists all over the world now, where they go in and they test as many non-organic fruit and vegetables as they can. And they test for toxicity. They test for the number of pesticides in those fruit and vegetables. And then they publish it in a list. So you can look at that list and you can decide for yourself, okay, I'm not in full health at the moment, or I've just taken in, I've just asked my body to process something quite major. Perhaps I want to minimise the toxicity at the moment. Actually, not going to choose those. So the Dirty Dozen is the top 12 fruit and vegetables that are like majorly toxic. And we're talking about, they've just published the 2021 list. Top of this year's list are strawberries. Not surprising, they're nearly always near the top because they're ground fruit, and anything that's grown near the ground is very heavily sprayed, because it has to be, because there are more insects and slugs and snails and all of those things that might eat the strawberries, and obviously growers of non-organic fruit and veg don't want that to happen, so they are sprayed. And third on the list is kale, which I know a lot of people eat these days as a health food. A lot of people are juicing it. Don't use it at the moment if you're juicing, because you're actually taking in, I think kale was found to have as many as 17 different pesticides in it. Bell peppers have made the list onto the Dirty Dozen, I think for the first time in a long, long time. They're number 10. And they have, 115 pesticides that are known to harm children in particular. So that's something to think about. And citrus fruits have actually 20 times more than the limit that is known to harm children. And this is non-organic, obviously. What is done also, I should mention, is that all these fruit and vegetables are, first of all, before they're tested, they are scrubbed, they're washed, they're scrubbed, they're peeled according to what they are, basically what you would be doing at home. And then they are tested. So that kind of belief that I think a lot of us may have, that, oh, it's fine as long as I give it a good wash, it'll be fine. It doesn't matter whether you're using bicarbonate of soda or salt or just plain water. Simple washing will not get those pesticides out. They are in every cell of those fruit and vegetables. So, I'm sorry, it's Monday morning and it's not a great way to start the week off. But I think, going back to what I said originally, making an informed choice is the more powerful option here. So if you're worried about your toxicity levels, if you're trying to raise your level of health or have it directed in one particular direction at any given moment, then the first step would be to minimize anything else that's potentially harmful going into your system. So the dirty dozen is the list, the dirty list, if you like. And then it's not all bad news. There is the clean 15 list. And that's a list of at least 15 fruit and vegetables that have been found to have minimal or virtually no pesticides in them. So you can safely choose those non-organic options and know that you're not going to be adding toxicity to your body. And at the moment, avocados are top of that list, which is good news if you like avocados, which I do a lot. Sweet corn is number 2, pineapple's number 3, onions are on there, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, sweet peas, aubergines, a couple of melons, mushrooms, all those kind of things. But you can have a look at that list. And so you can have a little printout, which I know this is going to be the wrong way around, but that's a little printout that they do. It's a free printout that you can carry around in your purse. So you can, as you're going around doing the shopping, you can just have a quick look at it. Or even better, there are apps available, and you can use them to scan the barcodes on things, and it'll tell you immediately how toxic something is or how safe it is. Not only about foods, but things like obviously what we put onto our bodies is important as well. So things like cosmetics and especially baby products, any kind of skin care products, anything like that. You can do the same with that. So it's just opening it up so that you can make the healthiest choices for you at any given time. And sometimes you might think, I'm cooking something, it requires kale. All I can get is non-organic kale. I don't really eat it that much. My system's pretty clean. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Your choice. At least you know what the potential implications of that might be. And if you're choosing to juice, for example, because you've got some kind of chronic illness, then part of using food to repair your system is not taking on anything toxic, because you don't want your system to be coping with that. You want it to be using its energy to heal rather than just manage toxicity. So I just thought that those two lists, which I had sort of forgotten about, I knew about them, I've known about them for years, but they're very useful if you're trying to look after yourself and trying to live as healthy a life as possible. So I hope that's useful. I will pop a link in the comment box below I think I might have already actually, to one of those lists. There are several different lists, but they're all the same principle really. The American lists are perhaps slightly different from the European lists because our food laws in Europe are actually a bit more stringent than the Americans. So what is in a lot of American food in terms of pesticide levels is often quite a bit higher than what's in European food, but not hugely different. The principle is still the same. So it's still a good guide if you're trying to clean up your system. So I hope you find that useful. It's about making informed choices, having those choices in the first place, and also respecting other people for their choices. So that's my message for today. Have a lovely week, and have a look at those lists. And if you've got any questions or any comments even, then do pop them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye.